Hello, High Point University. It's Lindsay Scott coming at you with another episode of Meet the Employers. I'm very excited. We are launching our first ever alumni edition. So I have Haley Bossert here. She is a class of 2020 grad. Congratulations, Haley. We're very excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to get to talk with you today.
Awesome. So everyone, Haley has done some really cool things in her time at HPU and is now continuing that into her professional career. She has such an entrepreneurial spirit that I had to talk to her at High Point University. We really believe in that entrepreneurial spirit, and Haley took that and ran with it. She started her own company called On Point, so I'm going to let her tell you guys a little bit about her time with On Point and how she started that at HPU. So Haley, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about your time and how this all started and where you are now.
I will. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Haley Bossert, and I'm thrilled to be here with Lindsay today. So I'm originally from Naples, Florida, and came to High Point in 2016. And High Point has that activities fair that everyone goes to. And I went to it and signed up for, 19 different things. And I just wasn't really connecting with a lot of them. And I had a friend of mine named Caroline who approached me, and we both had blogs. We were those girls in high school that were blogging about fashion and beauty. And she said, "Do you think we could start a magazine at High Point?" And I said, "Sure, that'd be fun. I have no idea how to do it, but let's do it." So we ended up posting in our Facebook group for the class of 2020. And we said, "Hey, we're two girls that are interested in fashion and lifestyle, and we want to bring that to High Point's campus. We're thinking of making it a print and digital magazine, but not really sure where we're going to go with it. Comment your email if you're interested." We got over 75 comments.
Wow.
Of people who wanted to join. And I remember sitting with Caroline and looking at her and saying, "Wow, what do we do now? I mean, I don't even know 75 people here." So
when was this your French? So this was all like first semester, beginning of first semester.
Yes, this is in September, like early college years. And we interviewed every single one of them above Cottrell Starbucks.
Okay.
And we split up the groups, and we would, see if they were interested in writing or photography. And I'd be looking on Vogue's website, like magazine job titles, like what do we need to make a magazine? And we interviewed all these people, and we compiled a group of about 30. And we scheduled our first meeting, and it was in what was Couch. And we realized it was too many people. There was no way we were going to manage 30 people. So then we got it down to 15. And it was a lot of media fellows, which was really helpful because obviously they're in the communications field, and they were able to help with graphic design and photography, which is something that Caroline and I knew a little bit about, but not a lot. Come sophomore year, Caroline has this amazing blog that she wanted to keep working on. And so I took over the magazine by myself, and I kept a lot of the same people, but every year we started kind of not filtering, but finding new voices to write for the magazine. And we had a lot of incoming freshmen that were following the Instagram that we created. And it kind of just became this really, really big community of people on campus. And come my junior year, we had about 8 magazines published by then. So we started freshman year doing monthly publications, which was absolutely insane. They were only like 18, 20 pages, but I was like, guys, this is not doable. So then sophomore year, junior year, we finalized with just a fall and a spring, because none of us had the time to work on things that often, among everything else you're doing in school. So it became a fall and spring digital and print magazine, only at High Point University. Of course, the digital goes anywhere. But we printed it at High Point, and we would give it to students for free. We started charging, but realized that wasn't, what we wanted to be doing. But come junior year, it really became something that I said, I want to take this post-grad, because it became like my baby. I thought about it every single moment of the day. And I found people on campus that were incredibly helpful, and people that are still with the team today, even though that they're graduated. So it became kind of my life. And now it's turned into a mentorship program along with the magazine. So I'm doing virtual coaching with college students, which is kind of what we do with the magazine, but now it's just me actually speaking to people. So it's become something really amazing and I love it.
That's amazing. So you mentioned that you've kind of expanded it beyond now that you graduated. Talk about
Mhm.
this mentorship coaching aspect and where that idea kind of came from.
Yeah.
I know you've had some really great experiences here at the university, and hopefully that led a little bit into this, but touch on a little bit of what you guys are up to now.
So during the beginning of my senior year, I had just come back from studying abroad in Florence. And that was my first time managing the magazine without actually being around students. And it was a little tricky because I wasn't doing hands-on work. You know, it was very much a team of people and me just managing a team of people. But what I always loved most was interacting with students when we had release parties or when we had fundraisers and workout classes in the amphitheater. So I said to Troy Mouse from the Entrepreneurship School, I said, hey, I really want to expand this into something where post-grad I can still be talking with students and not just through Instagram. You know, like I want to be speaking with them and helping them as much as I can. So I finished senior year in December, left and came home. And you know this as well because Lindsay and I have had so many phone conversations.
Yep.
But I was kind of falling away from the magazine a bit, and I wanted to branch out into something that could turn into kind of more national and not just at HPU. And at first I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll do events, you know, I'll go on to campuses and host these almost career fair like things, but have them be trendy and, you know, really fun for students. But I was like, well, that's just a lot to think about. So I said, what is something that I love to do? And we did a conference call with Troy, and he said, you know, what you're known for is just helping your friends. People come to you and they trust you and they know that you're giving them extremely genuine advice. So he recommended this virtual coaching idea. And I started looking into other, you know, coaches and career coaches that I've seen on Instagram or online. And, you know, the only thing that was really missing was just genuine advice for college students that was coming from a college student. So I took on point and just kept the name and created a program out of it. And now I have 4 clients already, which is really exciting.
That's amazing.
And we talk about literally anything college related. There's all these different session topics that we choose, and it's completely personable and customizable. So students can say, you know, if they really want to talk about roommates, we talk about roommates, or if they really want to get to know about how to connect with professors, then we talk about that. So there's a lot of different things that I cover, and it's content that's driven from the magazine. So I took the things that worked at High Point and just put it into something that was more mentorship related.
Something I really love, for those of you who don't know Haley and are just getting to know her through this, you are such a genuine person and you have such a work ethic and have really created something out of nothing. And I just find that so impressive. And that's really, I think, the High Point University way. Can you speak to some of the things that you feel like HPU did and had here that helped to set you up for success, and things that you would kind of recommend maybe students taking advantage of? I know you had an interesting major here. You really got involved with a lot of different people on campus. What are some of your best tips for students in the High Point University world?
When I first started freshman year, I came in, I think, as a communications major. The amount of times I switched was insane. I think I started at communications, went to visual merchandising design because I wanted the business, but I was creative. And come my sophomore year, I took some fashion courses because that was truly something I was passionate about. And I met Dr. Victoria Brown, who is the head of that program. And she was like, why don't you just create your own major? I was like, come again? And she said, no, you can totally do that. And I think there's a requirement, you know, you have to wait until like second semester sophomore year or something. So I ended up diving into the course catalogs with her, and I said, here's what I really want to do, and these are the more creative classes. And it it came to be that a lot of it was not offered yet in the fashion program. So that's why I went to Florence, which I would never take back that opportunity either. But once I came back from Florence, I truly, truly connected with a lot of professors on the campus. So, and of course, you and Doug Hall in Career Services were incredibly helpful from freshman year. Doug Hall was the first person I met when I came to High Point, and I talked about him for weeks when I came home. But once I kind of got into the School of Entrepreneurship more and more, Troy and Kathy, and we all call them by their first names, when I was getting really involved, they almost became like parental figures to me. They're so extremely helpful and so smart and experienced. It's amazing to learn from them. But something that I think really helped in preparing me for the real world post-grad is High Point University is so intentional. There are things on the campus that you can see at any other campus or anywhere in the world. However, they all have a purpose. You know, the mirrors in dorms and all the different buildings, they're there to make sure you check yourself before you leave. And it's preparing you, like Nito says, for a higher living experience, but it shifts your mindset into believing that that's your reality, which I think is really awesome. And the people at High Point are intentional as well. I mean, you're never going to meet a bad person there because they're all there for a specific purpose. And it becomes so easy, like it's almost subconscious, everything that's going on, because you start to realize like, yes, this is something that's my reality and I want it to be my reality. And that's your intention when you graduate.
Absolutely. So students, I want you to know, Haley worked really hard for that individualized major and all the things that she's accomplished. You make it sound so easy and effortless. And I know how many hours you put into this, and she really never stops working, and I have to applaud her for that. She makes it sound a lot easier than I think the time she has put into that. Yeah. But I also want you to take away what is actually possible when you take advantages of the resources here on campus, the people that are here to support you, and all of those intentional things that you talked about. They're there for a purpose, and we want you to absorb those things and take advantage of them. And Haley's really a product of what can happen when you use all the resources and all the exciting things that we put a lot of time and energy into creating for you. So we're very proud of you and excited to have you sharing your journey here with High Point University students today. Haley, as we start to wrap this up, what is one final piece of advice that you can give to HPU students?
I think, you know, whether it's just being in college or in times like this when things seem very confusing, my biggest tip is to think big picture. There are things that happen in college that, you know, seem incredibly stressful, and things get super fast paced. And what helped me a lot was just thinking that whatever is going on is very temporary, or it's just today. You know, I don't have to let that affect tomorrow. And to think big picture, but really you're remaining very present. And it just makes the journey at High Point and anywhere else in your life much more enjoyable.
That is absolutely wonderful advice. I love that. I know some of the things that I even went through in college during my time at HPU, they can seem so massive at the time. And you look back, and I graduated in 2013, and I look back, I'm like, why was I obsessing over that point in time? Haley, thank you so much. Students, parents, if you're watching, please feel free. You can connect with Haley on LinkedIn, Instagram. She's got all sorts of social media. If you have questions and want to connect with her, you can also reach out to me, and I will be sure to connect you with her. Haley, thank you so much for your time today. It was so great to see you as always.
Yes, thank you, Lindsay. So nice seeing you.